Have you any questions?
One word I'd like you to clarify in my mind, Yogi, and that is the word tantric.
Oh, the word tantric. What does it mean? Yes. I thought that was known to everyone. The tantras are those forms of yoga which make particular use of mantra, atha, raja, and in general are known as Alaya Yoga. They concentrate upon the raising of the kundalini and the spine, the awakening of the various chakras. They're interested in life here as well as life in subtle planes, are concentrated more in the field of formation than that of liberation or the detachment of consciousness, although they do envisage in their theoretical statement the possibility of a full liberation. The Tantra is extremely ritualistic in its stronger development. It is to be found in some forms of Tibetan Buddhism, but probably its strongest development is in the Indian Tantra. They're very flowery in their language sometimes. They deal with methods that are peculiarly not available to Western man. I'd say to Western man, avoid the Tantra. All sorts of postures they take. Making the body take certain positions, standing on the head, and so on. Intoning mantra heavily, not occasionally. Dealing with very many intricate techniques. There, for instance, is said to be in the Manipura, the chakra, and the general region of the solar plexus. I think it is the mantram Rum, if I remember correctly. You can intone your particular mantram with a particular breath, sitting in a particular position, and stir up, awaken a force in that particular mantram, in that particular chakra. All right. If you're unsuccessful, you're lucky. If you're successful in waking the force, you may get into a psychical complex, something that will just tear you to pieces, and you may wind up in agony. It's a good way to go to the asylum. I say to Western man, leave that alone. It's something never to be practiced without being under the immediate personal supervision of a competent guru. And I think Indian tantrics who have come over into this country have made a mistake assuming that they have been honest and sincere in trying to inculcate such practices in Western man. I am strongly opposed to Western man tampering with such things. They're not essential to the fundamental yoga. It's not required for the yoga of surrender, and it's not required for the yoga of detachment of the consciousness principle. Now, Aurobindo takes a position that's intermediate between the Tantra and the Mayavadan or the Buddhist position. Sort of a very close to the center between the two. A little bit over, I should say, more closer to the Tantra than he is to the other, because of his emphasis of the qualities of the devotion and action, and rather suppressing the knowledge feature, giving it a kind of a subordination to these other two. It put him a little bit to the tantric side of the center, but not very far from the center. Any other question?
Does one have to follow the passages, because you already to effect the complete transformation, and could he follow the direct path and then come back and effect transformation?
He could follow the path toward detachment of consciousness, yoga, jnana yoga, and return. Aurobindo says that he himself went through nirvana first.
By going the way of the senses, one would not be
That is true. Remember in that quotation from the intermediate zone that I gave 3 Sundays ago from Sri Aurobindo. At the end, he spoke of the fact that not all paths involve going through this intermediate zone. But if you don't go through the intermediate zone, of course, you don't have the powers that come from that experience. One may attain liberation and enlightenment and have practically no powers, no occult powers at all. Occult powers are not necessarily at all connected with realization. They may be or they may not be. Realization first is a better base for the entering into the mastery of occult powers. But one may strive for occult powers without even striving for realization. They belong really to two different orders. There is usually some spontaneous capacity that breaks forth in the individual as a result of a realization. But large mastery of powers is not the direct consequence even of the loftiest realization. The loftiest realization being the power to detach consciousness from all content.
Two descriptions you gave. Did you say that the last to transform the nature belongs to the Western man more than the others?
I'd say that it probably will appeal to Western man more than the detachment of consciousness. And I should say that probably is his way. He's Rajasic. He's very Rajasic. A Rajasic nature has to go the way that's feasible for a Rajasic nature. He can't suddenly abandon his action, but he can devote his action to the divine.
Seems to me like it'd be a fuller and a richer way.
Aurobindo says it's very much richer. Now that brings us into a question, and I think the answer involves difference of temperament. Aurobindo again and again speaks of an abstract intellectual statement as being dry and lacking dramatic detail and filling, and that where there's a lot of filling, a lot of something like drama or the correspondence of it that you get in Savitri, for instance, that is rich. Well, I'm just thinking of its effect on me. As I go through all of those details, I feel a weariness from the great mass of them. I like to take a short, concise statement that has an infinite number of applications. Substantiality is inversely proportional to ponderability. An infinity of cases covered in a few words. And that has the effect of richness in my consciousness. It's the richness you get from mathematics. It's not a dramatic richness at all. It doesn't seem dry to me. But it does seem dry, evidently, to Sri Aurobindo. Well, now, I think we have a matter of temperament here we've got to take into account. I would hate to have to go into that enormous elaboration of detail you get in Indian architecture, dealing images of persons with 20 arms upon them and perhaps 1,000 arms sticking out there. Oh, so much detail. How tired you get. You can get to that thing that can be sweeping, a simple concept that has an infinity of particulars under it. You sweep through it. Well, that's the mathematical type of mind that gets that. Well, there's a beauty in that. And I've known that beauty. And to me, that beauty has cheapened all other beauty. It may not be that other people would feel the same way if they even saw that beauty. It's not dramatic. It's not at all dramatic. It's not at all sensuous, even in the highest sense of sensuality. It's another kind of beauty. It's quite subtle beauty. But majestic? Well, yeah, but it has no royal robes on it. No purple robes. It's in one way it's austere. But it'll grip, I know it can grip your consciousness in a very deep way. Well, the only answer I can see is that we have different temperaments, and we have to go according to our temperaments. And I don't know that these very complex zones would hold me very long. Too much like a jungle. Well, some people, where I might say jungle, another person would say rich. So, you have a right to choose your own way. Choose your own valuation. And that's probably determined by what you are, essentially. Your own basic temperament. Any other questions?
To have a small scale, those people with 100 or 1,000 arms on my chain, it was a lot of work.
Well, yes. Yes, it get through a lot of work, and that's what it does represent. It's the capacity to get through a lot of the manifestation and expression. Now, you've got to get the view that this expressing is a leela, a play, a delight, just simply doing it. Well, there is another expression in that all-embracingness of the simple formula. It's powerful, too. It's powerful in its way, but it's another kind of dimension. I like that kind of expression. All right. But the sensuous manifoldness, intricacies, and so forth, act as a barrier, as though it is a mesh between you and it. It's like a lot of stuff in a room that hides beautiful lines of the room. And I want to sweep it out, to spit it all out so that I can get those clear, sharp, pure lines. Now there's a difference. I don't think that I'm going to change that very much because it's too fundamental and too natural. I'd hate to have to. However, you don't have to go that way. You're not made that way. Well, I think that's enough for tonight. Let's close with the closing words. Let there be peace within the universe. Let the power of the wonders of life be made manifest. Let wisdom guide us and love protect us throughout our lives. Peace be with you.